All right. Hello, hello, and welcome to How to Buy a Hotel in 90 Days, Even Without Capital, from front desk to hotel ownership and multi-million dollar exits. Okay. My name is Davon Reeves. For those who don't know who I am, I know we have a lot of first timers. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. And I saw some fams in the chat. So welcome back. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. I am known as the Hotel Queen. I'm a huge Beyonce fan. So for the folks who, who got in early and they heard Beyonce playing, I'm a huge Beyonce fan. And so that's why. All right. That's why I'm known as the Hotel Queen. So just a little bit about myself for those who don't know who I am. I've been in the industry for over 15 years. I started off as a front desk agent. I've managed over $1 billion in assets for other people. Author of a book called How to Buy a Hotel. I have $30 million under assets under management, which includes hotels, multifamily, and residential. Currently, to date, I've raised over $4 million for hotel deals for myself and others. And to date, since I started on this journey of creating more Black hotel owners and investors, I've created over 200 Black hotel owners and investors get in the game. So a little bit more about myself. I've been featured in just about everything with the exception of Essence. Okay. I don't know what's going on Essence, but I'm just waiting for my feature. That's just my dream. I could just mark it off. But I've been featured in Forbes, Times, Lodging, Afrotech, Atlanta Business Chronicle, Black Enterprise, Afrotech, just to name a few. I've received numerous awards, including from my alma mater, Georgia State University, 40 Under 40, the International Society of Hospitality Consultants Emerging Leader. I was actually the first Black one to receive that one. Top 100 Influential Hospitality Leaders by the International Hospitality Institute, and most recently, the Atlanta Business Chronicle, Powerful Women in Atlanta. So basically, I didn't inherit the playbook. I built it, and now I am handing it over to you. All right. So next, I'm going to go over my hotels, and as far as the different my different hotels, the different brands. So these are my 3 hotels. Was actually 2 because we just sold the one in the middle. So the first hotel that I acquired was in 2020. We actually acquired that during COVID. 85 room. We bought it for 8.3 million. We actually assumed the loan. So what that means, we took over the loan. We got a really good interest rate, and we didn't have to put down a lot of equity. We had to put less than 20%, right? Rare deal to find. Don't try to look for deals like that. That was literally just the grace of God, right? It was a lot of deals going around in COVID because, as you all can remember, the industry in the world just was not doing great during that time because travel pretty much halted. In 2021, purchased my next 2 hotels. In the middle was a 145 room Indian Staybridge Suites in Indianapolis Fishers, and we actually just sold that. And then the Hampton Inn and Suites, we bought that for. We actually bought those 2 hotels together for about 17.8 million, and we're actually closing on the Hampton Inn in several weeks. So that is truly exciting. So in probably a couple weeks, this slide is going to change. It's going to be 1 hotel and not 3. That's okay. I'm going to add more. And these are some of my brands. Actually, these are all my brands. The Vaughn Group I launched in 2017, which is my ownership group as well as my consulting group. Stay Black Experience is a directory of Black-owned hotels. Vestor is my crowdfunding platform where you can invest in commercial real estate as well as raise capital for commercial real estate. Investor Academy is the educational arm. All right, so if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm going to get to them at the end. I promise. It's a lot to cover. It's a lot of folks in here. Y'all, we got over 100 folks in the room. So I just want to make sure that everybody gets the information, okay? So we got people from my team. We have Larry Foster, who's over business development. So he's going to be in there answering questions and dropping the chat. And then we have my assistant, Tiara. So they're going to make sure that I get your questions answered. Trust me. All right. So just put your questions in the chat, or if you could save them to the end, that would be great. I will do my best to get to every question at the end. Okay. We're just going to leave them to the end. Okay. So for the rest of the session, we're going to, I just did the introduction, we're going over the 90-day buying blueprint. Save some time for capital stacking 101. So talk about how to structure capital stack, deal structuring, what to say to lenders and investors, and I'll leave some time for Q&A. All right, so now it's time for a poll. All right, how y'all doing so far? So far, so good? Okay, let's drop it in the chat. Okay. All right, so everyone should have received a link where I want to know your favorite hotel brand. It's kind of hard for me to choose my favorite hotel brand because I started working off at the Hyatt as a front desk agent. Everybody should have gotten a link. I see people answering it. You could you could put it in the chat or you could put it in a poll. I see folks answering, so some folks are getting it. And then Hilton, I love Hilton because I'm a franchisee and I feel like they just have like the best rates, right? Somebody said Motel 6. Okay, that's your favorite to poll. Okay, I'll share it again to all participants. It should come in the chat. All right. We're gonna do all right, minute left. And it looks like what? Oh shoot. What? It looks like Hilton won. Usually it's Marriott. Also, can you all see the results? Can you see it in the polls? I can't see it. Mine is showing it. So y'all can see. Okay, so y'all see the winner. So Hilton is the winner. Okay, shout out to Hilton. Hilton is the winner as your favorite hotel to stay at, right? Next is Marriott. And then after Marriott, well, actually, it's a tie between Hyatt and IHG. So basically, these are the top 4 hotel brands for those who don't know. Marriott and Hilton are the top 2 hotel brands in the world. Hyatt and IHG. When I mean by top brands, meaning by like premium brands. So those are good for lenders and stuff they just love it. Okay. All right, let's go. All right, let's go back. Thank you all for that. Was that fun? I was actually shocked. I just knew Marriott was gonna win. Come on, Hilton, for the stay. All right, let's go back. Okay. Can y'all see my screen now? Can y'all see it? Zoom got these new features. Y'all still with me? Wait, can y'all hear me? Can y'all see? Okay, we good. We rocking. Okay. Y'all can see. Okay, great. All right. So I bring receipts. I didn't show y'all. I didn't told y'all who I was. Just a little background about myself. And we did a little poll. You know, I'm gonna walk y'all through why they call me the hotel queen. So basically, I'm how I bring receipts, right? So not only have I been featured in media outlets, which I appreciate, but I've been bringing folks with me, right? I made news several years ago, 2021, the youngest, y'all may have seen it or heard it, one of the youngest Black female to become a franchisee of a major brand. That was a Hilton, right? So I was like, I want more people with me at these tables. So my inner circle members, they're actually doing amazing things right now. A couple is developing a hotel in Belize. One of Inner Circle members, she actually secured over 75,000 in consulting contracts. I walked her through some AI prompts, and that's how she was able to get it and structure it. Ramel just recently launched a $5 million fund to acquire hotels. And you see a group of us, some of them are hotel owners, some of them are investors, a lot of them are Inner Circle members. And we are actually at the Hunter Hotel Conference. It was at an invite only IHG reception And so typically what I do with my inner circle members, I get invited and I bring them along and tell them to crash with me. But it's just great experience, great networking, and basically being in the right room. Okay, so why hotels over everything? So short-term rentals equals hustle, hotels equal systems, right? Multifamily equals rent once a month, hotels equal rent every night, right? Hotels are income producing, businesses wrap in real estate. So you don't need more doors, you just need better ones, right? And so with hotels, it gives you an opportunity to scale and do things at a larger space, right? All right. So again, let's talk why, right? They're cool, but they're a hustle, right? Daily income. Who would prefer to have daily income or monthly income? Or who really want to have both? You want to have a little multifamily and hotels both in your portfolio. That's the question, right? All right. So the lies that you've probably been told. You need millions of dollars, false. To do a whole let me reiterate. You do need millions of dollars to do a hotel deal. I ain't gonna lie, because hotels are very expensive. But personally, there are ways to get around it where you don't have to bring $1 million to the table, right? And so there's some of the things that we can talk about. You need hotel experience, false. There are a lot of first-time hotel owners that never worked in a hotel or had any hotel experience. You can't raise money, you can, false. It's not about your money, it's about access, right? So you just need a method, and that's why I'm giving it to you today. All right, so let's talk about the acquisition process. Um, and a lot of folks who purchase the workbook, we break it down in the workbook, the acquisition process, and the different, things as far as raising capital and all that fun stuff. If you need the link to the workbook, if you haven't accessed it already, Larry, feel free to put it in the chat. All right, so acquisition process. So how many people have ever purchased any type of real estate, whether if it's their home, whether if it's a fix or flip, any type of real estate? How many people purchase some type of real estate? Okay, so this is going to make a little sense. You're going to be like, oh, wait, what? Really? All right, so the acquisition process. So the first thing you want to do anytime you buy any type of real estate, what's somebody going to ask you? They're going to ask you, what's your investment criteria? What are you looking for? What are your specs, right? Same thing if you buying a house. The realtor or broker is going to be, look, how many rooms do you want? Do you want a ranch? What's your budget, right? What's and the biggest thing is, what's the location? Where do you want your property to be? Same thing with hotels. So when you're looking to buy a hotel or when you're looking to invest in a hotel, the biggest thing that you want to do is determine the market, the brand that you're looking for, and if you're going to operate it or bring somebody else to operate it in. And also, what's the return that you're looking for, right? It always goes back to the strategy. Do you want to more of a cash flowing asset, or do you want more of an equity asset? And we'll get more into that a little later, but just to kind of give you an idea of the investment criteria. Next thing you want to do, you want to assemble your team. All right. So for my folks who said, I'm in real estate, I got my people, this is what we do. I got my lawyer, I got my contractor, this is my 18. I ain't gonna do nothing without them. That's cool. You're gonna lead them over there in residential. You're not gonna bring them over there in hotels. I'm gonna tell you that right now, it's not gonna work. I'm just gonna keep it 100. It's not gonna work. Okay. The reason why hotels are very specific and they're very complicated. If your people ain't never closed on multiple hotels, just go ahead and leave them in residential. It's gonna be all right. You'll bring them on next time once you figure it out. But you just don't want the blind leading the blind. So first thing you want to do, you want to bring on a hotel consultant or an asset manager to help to walk you through the process, right? Because they're going to help you assemble your team. They're going to help you find a lender, because guess what? They've closed on multiple deals. So they already got the 18. So you don't have to worry about trying to figure it out. And it's also relationship based, because sometimes people don't want to work with first time hotel owners. They were like, man, I don't got time for you. You ain't going to get to the closing table. Let me work with somebody else that did about 10, 15, 16, 20. I can't deal with you right now. Right. So you want to work with people that's been to the closing table multiple times, so that way they can help you get to the closing table. Next thing you want to do is find a hotel. So where do you go? There's no MLS for hotels, just like there's not an MLS for commercial real estate. So there are websites such as LoopNet, Prexy. There are different websites. Again, a lot of those are in the workbook to walk you through where to go to find a hotel, right? Where do you go? Okay. And after you find your hotel, when you do your due diligence, then you want to submit your offer, right? And then once you submit your offer and it's approved and they move forward, then you go through the PSA and you go through the due diligence process with the lender and everything and all the nuances with checking the roof and doing the inspection and everything. Once it all clear, you get that clear to close, and then you transition from an old ownership group to the new ownership group. So for my folks who bought real estate, does that sound a little similar? Like with the different process? Investment criteria, assemble the team, find the property, do your analysis, see if it makes sense, submit the offer. If it's approved, then you do your due diligence to make sure it's okay, the roof, mechanics, all that good, and then you transition. Does that sound similar? Yeah, it sounds similar, right? So you're like, maybe this is a little attainable. Okay. All right. So now we have another poll. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, we got another poll. We want to make sure y'all up. So based off of what I said about the acquisition process, typically are for active investors, people who want to do all the work. And then passive investors, they like, look, Davon, that's too much work. What you just described, I just rather just pass it. So I'm just curious with the people in the room, are you an active investor or passive investor? Okay. All right. And so it's going to come through as a message. Both. We got active. We got active. Okay. So we got majority active people. Okay. We got both. Okay. Yeah. Passive. What? We got more active folks on. Okay. Usually it's the opposite. Usually it's like, girl, Devon, you just described a little bit too much work for me. Girl, just tell me where to invest my money so I can sit back and be a rich auntie. That's what usually some people do, but it's cool. We got some active folks in the group. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's get back. Let's get back to work. All right, so finding the right deal. So let's talk about that. You want to start with the location, okay? Location, right? This is still real estate. A lot of people forget that hotels are real estate. Anything that's on land is real estate, right? Any type of, whether it's a post office, whatever, it's a funeral home or a church, that is still considered real estate. And a lot of people forget that. I forgot that too. I worked in a hotel and did not even think that I'm sitting on real estate, right? So the first thing you want to do is start with the location. And then you want to look for flagged or branded properties. If I were you all as a first-time hotel owner or an investor, I would stick with the limited service and stick with branded hotels. And the reason why I know it's some folks that's like, I want to start my own brand. And I think that's great. I love it. More power to you. But a lot of times when you start your own brand, it could be very expensive because the marketing, depending on the type of, and depending on the market. So for my folks who want to do independent hotels, they just want to do it so bad. I will go to markets like New Orleans. That is a good market for independent hotels because they need hotels. And so people, they'll stay as long as it's nice and comfortable. They don't care about the brand, right? Places like Miami, places like New York, those are Chicago, those markets, you probably can kind of get away with an independent hotel. Places like Atlanta, it's kind of hard. Places that are really focused on the brands, it's harder to do well because you're competing with, Hilton and Marriott, who have like millions and billions of dollars in their marketing budget. So it's really hard for you to compete. And guess what? We just meant y'all just say y'all favorite brands, Hilton and Marriott. They have the largest reward system, so everybody want to build their points. So you have to think about that, the loyalty programs. So that's what I mean by finding the right deal. Start with the location, look for flag properties. I would recommend first-time hotel owners or investors, if you're looking to buy a hotel or invest in a hotel, I would look at brands such as Hilton. They have what you call Spark. I would look at Homewood Suites. I would look at Home2 Suites if you really want to do a Hilton. I'm trying to shift your mind from consumer to ownership mindset, right? Because a lot of times with folks when we buy our first hotel, we want to buy hotels that we stay at normally. And 9 times out of 10, we can't really afford those coming out as first-time hotel owners because they're so expensive, ranging from like starting off at $15 million, right? And you have to put 20 to 30% down. So, I would look at brands such as Wyndham. Those are good brands to start off, like Microtel, Baymont Suites and Super 8. Those are good products to start off with. Choice, Econo Lodge, Quality Inn. If you want to do an IHG, Holiday Inn Express, Candlewood Suites, Staybrook Suites. Those are good brands for first timers. All right. All right, so building that capital stack. So again, this information is in your workbook. If you don't have the link, Larry or Tier, please do me a favor and drop it in the chat. So building that capital stack, right? So we have business credit. A lot of people don't realize this, but you can actually you can actually use business credit as a down payment, right? So it's a lot of business credit gurus out here, and I'm like, well, why don't you just do that and put 20% down on the they're like, oh wow, I could do that. Seller financing. I wouldn't bank on it, right? I wouldn't bank on it because a lot of times with hotel owners, they just want to get it off their plate. They don't want to do seller financing. And that's just with any real estate. Some people, they just don't want to do that. They just want to get off their plate. They don't want to bother with it. So seller financing is an option for you. Seller financing can be more expensive. So you have to put more of a down payment, but this is for folks it's hard to get a loan. Depending on the situation, depending on how motivated the seller is, they may actually be okay with seller financing. So that's why it's good with working with the hotel broker, someone who closes specifically on hotels, going back to that assembling the team. SBA 7A loans. So that stands for Small Business Associations loans. And this particular loan, they lend up to $5 million. And they are typically decent for first-time hotel owners. A lot of times people, they go this route as their first hotel, but again, the hotel has to be $5 million or less. Equity partners. So that is having folks who passively invest in your deal and they come in as equity partners, right? Joint ventures. I've yet to see a deal where it was just one person. Larry, please put it in the chat. Help me out. I've yet to see. Larry's in the hotel business as well. I've yet to see a deal where it's just one owner. They may say, oh, it's just one. It's like multiple owners. There's multiple investors. It's a lot of layers. So don't feel like, oh, I don't have the money, I can't do it. Well, then partner with someone, right? So don't let that deter you, right? It's always, if I thought that way, I wouldn't be talking to you all right now, okay? Crowdfunding is another way of finding equity partners, right? Crowdfunding, for those who don't know, is just people pulling their funds together and investing. So I created a website called Vestor to basically connect folks who want to raise capital and folks who just want to invest passively. All right, so underwrite like an owner. So what does that mean? Basically analyzing the deal to see if it makes sense for you. All right, so it's 3 things that makes a hotel successful. It is the location, the brand, and the operator, right? So you want to analyze the deals to make sure that they make sense. So you'll see this a lot when you start doing your due diligence and start going on sites that I mentioned, like LoopNet and Craigslist. You're going to see RevPAR, ADR, occupancy, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? So RevPAR stands for revenue per available growth. And so basically just letting you know how healthy the hotel is multiplying ADR and occupancy. ADR stands for average daily rate. So it is all the rates put together pretty much. So you got your military, Expedia, all these different rates coming together. Then you have occupancy. So let's say you have a 100-room hotel and 50 of the rooms are occupied. Now you have 50% occupancy, okay? So using STR. So in the hotel world, STR actually stands for Smith Travel Research. And so these are the reports that we use. They're third-party reports to see how the market is doing, right? So comp sets is basically your direct competitors. So I have a Home2 Suites in El Reno, Oklahoma, all right? And right next to it is a Hampton Inn, it's a Fairfield Inn, and across the street it's a Holiday Inn Express. Well, there's a Home2 Suites in Yukon. Well, that's really not my direct competitor because guess what? Yukon and El Reno are 20 minutes apart in Oklahoma, right? They're two different guests. So when you think of comp sets, you want to target the exact guest. So that's what we mean by the comp set, right? You're fighting for the same guest. Pro formas is what we use, or real estate folks use, to understand the financial projections of the deals to see if it makes sense. So profit, it really isn't luck, it's data and decisions. Okay. All right, so going back to assembling your team. All right. So you definitely don't want to do this solo. So I'll definitely, connect you with the right, consultant and brand and lender and whatever you need, right? So, like I said, first stop working with a hotel consultant or an asset manager to hold your hand and really help you along the way, right? Analyze the deal to see if it makes sense. A lot of times you can't get a loan if no one is on your team has hotel experience. So that's where that consulting comes in, or ownership experience. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I get somebody who just worked in a hotel. No, they want somebody with above property, um, ownership skills. Finding the right lender. Not all lenders loan on hotels. So for my folks who doing a deal and they find they like, oh, I I I know someone, they do. No. Have they ever closed on a hotel? That's my question. If they haven't closed on a hotel, I can't deal with you because it's the blind leading the blind. And I don't want you losing your earnest money dealing with somebody who's thinking they can figure it out. Working with the hotel broker that can help you find a deal, working with the management company that will help you operate the day-to-day operations. So what does that mean? So I showed y'all 3 hotels across 2 different states. I am talking to you all. I cannot be in Oklahoma checking in guests and talking to you all at the same time in Atlanta, Georgia. All right. So that's what management companies are for. They operate the day-to-day operations. You definitely want to have an attorney. Sometimes you have to have multiple attorneys. Sometimes, depending on what you're doing, an attorney to raise capital, an attorney to negotiate with the brands, and an attorney to help with the PSA, purchase sale agreement, an attorney to help out with the management company negotiation. Sometimes they can do it all. Sometimes they have to source it out. Working with the CPA to help you with your financials. And really, you want to get with people who are hotel people. I'm trying to tell you, it just make your life so much easier. Because again, you don't know what you're doing. So you need to get with people that know what they're doing. Until you know what you're doing, then you could do your own thing. And then having the right brand on your side as well. Having that brand relationship, as you go through it. So I actually, is it okay if I share a little story? Is okay? If okay, if I share a story? Okay. So let me tell you why it's so important to have the right team. All right. So let's say you're buying a hotel, all right, and you're buying somebody's favorite brand. I think I saw like a Motel 6. That's what somebody put. So we're gonna say Motel 6. That's actually a good brand to start off with buying as a first time hotel. So buying a Motel 6 and you are gonna do it by yourself. You're like, I don't need these people. Like, Dave, I don't know what she's talking about. Like, I done millions of dollars worth of real estate. Like, I'm good. She don't know what she's talking about. All right, cool, bet. So you do it, you rolling through, you just skating along. And the lender's like, you darn near about to get the clear to close. And the lender's like, wait a minute, we need your franchise agreement from Motel 6. You're gonna be like, what are you talking about? I didn't know I had to apply. I didn't know. And you guess what? Brands have what you call committee. So when you apply, they have to approve you. So if your application goes and it's after committee, you have to wait until the following month. So you just delayed your clear to close, and the seller could be like, you know what? Nah, I can't wait that long. And now you just done lost the deal. You know how I know? Because I've heard of that plenty of times. So that's why it's so important to assemble the A team, right? Or your acquisition team, folks who know hotels. All right. All right. So let's go. Let's talk about locking the deal, right? So letter of intent. So letter of intent is pretty much you're submitting your offer, right? You're submitting your offer letter. Basically the terms and, earnest money and, hopefully they'll agree to it. Okay. And then structuring the PSA, which is the purchase and sale agreement, is basically outlining the terms of the agreement and what you would do if it's in default and who's going to do what. And again, you want to have a lawyer because it's a lot of negotiations back and forth. And so that's me. That's actually at Hilton Corporate during one of our inner circle events. I thought that was just the cutest thing, Hilton for the say. And then capital close is when you're raising capital. And so you're finding equity partners. And so you're doing that simultaneously, right? So that's why it's good to have people on your team because it's a lot of moving parts and it moves really fast and no one is not a learning. You're going to be the only one that's learning and you don't have time for other people learning. And it's always a different deal. It's always something changes every time. All right. Then transition management. So that's basically after you close on the deal, you raise the capital, the brand approved, you good to go. You got that clear to close, you closing, and now you're transitioning management and ownership. All right. So the cost of waiting. All right. Lost equity, missed appreciation, watching others close deals while you were still on webinars. Yeah. How many people that's the experience? They're like, man, I'm tired of that. Let's see. All right, so we got another poll. Y'all still with me? Y'all having fun? Y'all having fun? All right, we're gonna come back to that poll question. Okay, so some some inner circle case studies. So these are my inner circle students. This was actually earlier this year at Hilton. Hilton had a brand day. Inner circle city, inner circle members came, and then Tommy. You see Tommy, the white guy there. He's actually one of the coaches in the program, and he helps people a lot. He actually knows more about hotels than I do. So to get folks to the close, he's got plenty of people to the closing table. And he's actually the asset managers of our hotels. So just some inner circle case studies. Adrian raised over $1 million with no experience, and now she's under contract. She's closing probably in a couple weeks. We have another Adrian, so two Adrians. She's invested in hotels. She's generated over 75,000 in consulting contracts through AI strategies learned. So we just don't talk about hotels in the inner circle. We talk about other stuff as well. And then Jessica, so we all went to Belize last year to see one of our inner circle members hotel development, and she actually met a real estate broker who was there, traveling as a group. And she recently just closed on her first investment property, and she's invested in a international hotel. She invested in that Belize hotel, and her next step is buying a hotel. So things are moving. So what's the circle, right? So monthly group coaching. We go over your deals. You bring it to us. We go over it, tell you if it's good or bad. We help you with your capital stack, meaning walking you through how to analyze deals. How to raise capital. You'll get access to templates and scripts and pitch decks. Some of the templates that I've used to raise capital. Invite only events at brand headquarters, which not just includes Hilton, but IHG, Marriott, and Choice. You also get access to lenders and brand reps. I could tell you, it's been so many people who'll say, Devon, I reached out to the brands and the lenders and I won't get a response back. And then, they join, and then I reach out to my contacts at a brand and they respond back in 24 hours. So relationships makes a difference, right? It makes a difference. All right, so that is me and the Hilton CEO. That's Kristen Seta. I spoke at NYU Hotel Investment Conference last year, which is one of the largest hotel conferences. So the ROI, right? So first deal, $1 million in ownership, daily cash flow from hotel operations, equity and appreciation, network can definitely equal net worth. And one deal can change everything. All right. All right. So what does that process look like? Apply for the inner circle. So there's payment plans available. Actually, it was 25,000, but we definitely reduced it for you all. because you're tuning in. As you can see, you get a lot, and a lot of people, they made their money back already. So if you sign up soon, you'll get a one-on-one voting strategy call with me, exclusive capital stack checklist, and then I'll actually work you through. I walk you through, and we actually go through your pitches together in the inner circle. Like we actually like I'm walking you through your like you gonna practice in front of me, and we gonna because not only do you have to pitch to investors, you have to pitch to brands, you have to pitch to lenders. Like you're constantly having to pitch your deal because in your mind it makes sense, but you have to explain it to other people so they can work with you. So that picture is right there, is in Belize. We are at two of the inner circles. That's their land. They're developing a hotel there. And so, and we're actually going back again this year. So what's included, and that's us at the Hilton headquarters. Again, that's last year. So 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching with myself, monthly deal reviews, capital stack planning, proven templates, investor deck, scripts, pitch, emails, again, access to lenders, brokers, and franchise consultants, access to brand events. And we say that a lot because that's really where a lot of stuff happens, and you actually get to meet the brand people and you actually get to meet the lenders there, right? You actually get to talk to them. They can put a name to a face. When you email, they'll respond. Having that introduction for me, it helps. I didn't realize how much it helps until now. But having that, and then also the biggest thing is the community. We've had several people who've literally come together and they're working on hotel deals as we speak, just from being a part of the inner circle. One person, they got the money. The other person don't have the money, but they're good at pitching and they're good at networking and raising capital. We put them together and now they're working on their first hotel deal, right? So the biggest thing is definitely having that community of high-level owners, funders, and partners. So final thoughts, and that's us at Holiday Inn. This is earlier this year. We were at not Holiday Inn, at IHG headquarters. They're actually headquarters in Atlanta, and that is the chief development officer of the whole entire IHG brand. She actually gave us a tour of their design center. So we actually got a chance to see all of the different rooms, of IHG, Garner, Holiday Inn Express, like telling us how they came up with the paint and the different colors and the different schemes for Staybridge. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, but final thoughts. You can keep watching from the sidelines or you can get in the room and own the building. It's not about if, it's about when. So let's make it now. All right. So I left enough time, as promised. Drop your questions in the chat. No fluff, real answers. For my folks who want to join the inner circle, Larry here, please put it in the chat. And if you have any questions, okay, how do you build? So we got first one. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, and next step. So if you're not following me, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn as well. For my folks who are on LinkedIn, if you haven't, grab your workbook, and also sign up for the inner circle. All right, so let's see. We have some questions. How do you build business credit? It's a lot of different tiers. I actually have a program on that for raising capital where we walk you through how to build business credit. The biggest thing is starting small. Some people use their personal credit to start with business credit. Some people start with like going through like a Lowe's or different. So it's different trade lines. So if you send a note to, hold on. If you send a note to this email, we can get you the link to walk you through how to build a business credit. Okay, okay, let me go through these questions. Okay, whoops, a lot. Okay. Okay, what's the minimum rate of return with a management company? Okay, that is pretty broad because there's really no minimum rate of return with management of a hotel because every deal is different. So there's no minimum because the minimum could be 0%. It's just no minimum. It depends on the brand. It depends on the location. It depends on the operator. So the better question, it would be, what is your minimum? Not what the minimum is of the hotel. It's what your minimum. Like you shouldn't be caring about anything else other than what's the minimum of what you would take as far as a return that you're looking for. It says, do you ever want to own a hotel by yourself? No, because one, it's too much risk and it's just too complicated to do everything by yourself. I take that back. I do want to own. So my grandma philosophy growing up was you always need to leave a paid off house in your family. So I do want to leave a paid off hotel in the family. So that'd probably be the only one that would be by myself without outside investors. But technically, it still wouldn't be by myself because it'll be a family thing. Okay, definitely. Oh, good. I'm glad you signed up. It says, what experience do you need to become a hotel owner? So it's some different pathways that you can do. You can actually invest, starting off passively investing in a hotel, and then you can branch out on your own and do your own thing. But I wouldn't say necessarily, probably more so real estate experience helps a lot, or franchise experience helps. I see those people they do pretty well. Folks who like own franchises, or folks who's been really successful in real estate. I've seen those folks do really well. And I've seen folks that do really well who were doctors, they were just good at putting teams together. So the biggest thing is probably I would say putting teams together and understanding processes and being organized, or finding the right people to help you do that, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. It says how to invest within your group to be a passive partner. Oh, I can put the link in the chat. It's I have a crowdfunding platform called Vestor.com, where you can look at deals available and get on uh our mailing list. We actually have some deals coming up. We got the deal in Belize where you can invest. There's a fund where you can invest. There is a co-working space where you can invest coming up. There is a Marriott development where you can invest. So I just put the link in the chat. So Vestor.com. May I ask sidebar? Well, I would just ask the question. It says first 25 that joined the call, how can they get the access to? Oh, I have a list. So we'll send an email for the first 25 people that join the call. You'll get access to the 15-minute clarity call and then the investor pitch deck. See, I know you were paying attention. So Tierra gonna make sure we do it. Okay. With the SBA loan, do we have to buy the hotel in our city? No, it doesn't have to be in your city. The SBA loan, they just really want someone on your team to have hotel experience. That's probably the biggest thing. So that's when you either have to bring in a management company, or somebody on your team who's on the loan will have to have hotel experience. They're actually a little probably more strict now with the most recent administration. So that's probably the biggest thing. It says, does your company Vestor allow you to invest in the hotel brands like a REIT? No, because that's a great question, because Vestor is a crowdfunding platform. So no, you don't invest in a REIT. Now, I will say there is an investment opportunity on Vestor where it's like that. So if you go to Vestor.com and look at the RDL fund, it's a fund. So it's kind of similar to a REIT, meaning you're investing in a pool of things, but it's not really a REIT. If you're looking for a black owned REIT, you can go for hotels. I will go to ROJ Trust. I'm not a financial advisor. All of this is for educational purposes. I probably should put that disclaimer. Whoops. Yes, all of this is for financial. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for educational purposes. But yeah, that's what I would look. Will a replay be available? Yes. Okay. Oh, send a note to hold on. Send a note to hello at the Vaughn Group, and then we will get you the link for the business credit. Okay. Do most of your class start off as a minority investor for the first time, or do they become a principal investor? Sorry. I would say it's a combination of both. Yeah, I would say it's a combination of both, because we do have some people that start off as a passive investor, and then we have some folks that just started off. Like we have one now, she didn't start off as a passive investor. This is her first time. She came from the franchise world, but not the hotel world, and this is her first time buying a hotel. So it just depends on where you are in your journey. I really want to franchise. No, right? Have you ever converted a hotel from one brand to another, like Marriott to a Wyndham? I haven't, and I probably wouldn't convert a Marriott to a Wyndham, but I would do it the other way around if I was to convert. And the reason why it's like flipping up, it's like going in and buying you want to flip a house, and when you flip a house you gut it out and you change it and add a couple 100,000 to it or something so you could sell it for more. So we did have a deal on Vester where they actually converted Holiday Inn to a Wyndham property in Lake Charles. So I haven't personally done it, but I've known folks who've done it, and Tommy's consulted on it. How can I ask you something outside this webinar? So what's the next step? Yep, interview. We'll reach out to you. Okay. All right. So we'll get to you all ASAP. How to invest within your group to be a passive investor. Okay, investor.com. We gave it to you. Is a management company requirement for brands? That is a really great question. So depending on the brand, yes. So Marriott, yes, depending on your experience, they do want you to have a management. They don't want you to do owner operator if you never owned a hotel. That can be tricky because again, they have to protect their brand. Um, Wyndham, not really, because it depends on the brand. Same thing with Choice. It really just depends on the brand. If it's an independent or, I mean, is if it's an economy or select service hotel, then that's when they'll, like the only time the brands are really particular about managing a hotel, like the Waldorf Astoria. So if you decide to buy the Waldorf Astoria one day, like you won't be able to. It's gonna have to be Hilton managed. Like you won't be able to get out of that. Park Hyatt, Mandarin Oriental, all of their brands are managed by Mandarin Oriental. Four Seasons. It's so it just depends on the band. Depends on the brand. It says, what requirements are you looking for at passive investor? I wouldn't necessarily their requirements. The biggest thing is like you can't be a terrorist. Um, and I mean I'm saying that, but I'm being honest. It's not necessarily. I mean, you have to have the money, and depending on the deal, you have to be an accredited investor. An accredited investor, um, someone who has uh net worth of $1 million or more, or income of 200,000 or more. And so some of the deals they do require that. So I'm not looking for that because I'm not looking for passive investors right now for any deals. I'm not buying any hotels right now. I'm just focusing on investor, unless you want to invest in that. But that you have to be a accredited investor. It says for SBA loan, does it have to be within the US? I believe so. For small, yeah, it has to be within the US. Okay, it says, what's the best way for a service provider to get in front of hotels? Would a tenant ad put in July be a good investment? That is a good question. So I actually get that question a lot because people are always trying to put their services in my hotel. I would say to save you time and money, depending on what your service is and depending on what your product is, you need to do research on the brands before you do anything. Because if you have a service, for instance, let's say you market, or let's say you have a product, right? So let's say you have a product and it's for Black people, it's for Black hair. My hotels are in Indiana and Oklahoma. It wasn't a lot of. It's like we don't even the one in Oklahoma. We don't even have Black people working there, so your product wouldn't work for my hotel, right? So you have to understand the different brands and where you fit. Another thing is go to the supplier. Actually, I have a whole like worksheet on this. So send a note to hello at the Vine group. Another thing is each brand have what they have called suppliers. And then you can sign up on their website to become a supplier. So that's probably the best way to become so you can get approved, so you can become a service provider. But you need to have a capability statement, and you have to be, you know, ready to do it. Okay. In order to get into this business, do I need to come with a group of people since it's harder to do alone? Um, I would say if you do bring a group of people, if you do bring a group of people, it need to be people you want to work with, it need to be people who have money, right? So a lot of times people they don't have the group of people. That's why they join the inner circle because it's people, it's like-minded individuals, and they just come together to do a deal. Like we got a couple, a girl, two girls now that they've been coming. They probably gonna do a deal together because they just met and they just started talking. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Um, so I would say I wouldn't look for come for a group of people. I would try to focus on what, okay, so these are my strengths. So let's say your strength is you have really excellent credit and you have a really good, job, and you have, 200,000 to play with. I'm just making this up. But you don't have, the right hotel experience. So maybe you partner with somebody else who has hotel experience, or maybe they have 200,000 and now y'all got 400,000 to play with, and now y'all come together. That's what I look like when I mean coming together. Like if you got a group of people, maybe it's 10 of y'all, and each y'all got 100,000, and now y'all got $1 million, and y'all find a $5 million project that's 20% down. So you can look at it that way. So the biggest thing is before you do that is you need to figure out what your investment criteria is, and then you need to see if everybody's on the same page. Because what I mean by that, you may want to acquire a hotel, and may want to develop two different things. Y'all might not gonna work. You want to do a Motel 6, they want to do a Four Seasons. Y'all not on the same page. It's not gonna work. Do you have information on what passive investors should look for when investing in a hotel? Yeah, I do. Um, you go to my YouTube page. Actually, we just did a webinar on this on Vestor. No, actually, we have go to vestor.com, and we're actually having a webinar coming up pretty soon discussing this on how to analyze deals as a passive investor. So go to vestor.com, get on our mailing list, or sign up. Go to the event page, and then there's a event on the 25th. It says you mentioned most deals are done with multiple people on the team. How many ownership partners do you typically see in a limited service ownership space? Oh gosh, I've seen it's been something up to like 100 people. So I mean, there's no, I wouldn't even worry about that. It just really depends on the deal. It just, some people they'll do whatever they can to get the deal done. So they're gonna bring a whole bunch of people on the deal. So that's how I would look at it. Okay, definitely interested in the inner circle. Yay, can't wait to see you in there. So the next step, yeah, somebody from the team will reach out to you. How many investors in the, it just depends. I wouldn't get to go because you're asking a question and there's no deal, right? So the deal could be you need $200,000 down in equity, and two people with 100,000 each. So I wouldn't get stuck on how many investors are enough, because it depends on the deal, and it goes by the number. That's really what it is. It goes by the number. Is it easy to get Marriott and Hilton? Those are the hardest to get probably out of any franchises. Oh man, I mean, thank you all so much for tuning in. This is great. I know folks have been in leaving off, but thank y'all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you all. It says, so what is the first step I should take if I want to do this? The biggest thing is determining your investment criteria, working with the financial advisor to see if you had the money to do it. And that way to help you determine which path. Maybe you don't have enough to buy a hotel outright, but maybe you have enough just to passively invest. So definitely talk with a financial advisor. Can you explain what the ideal ROI will look like as a passive investor with your company? For example, can you expect a percentage of returns every 6 months for which company? Because the hotels, you mean for just investing in a hotel? That's from Tracy. Do each of the hotel brands have programs for first time hotel ownerships? I would say they have programs. They probably more have programs for diversity programs if you're looking to convert or develop. So Choice, Wyndham, IHG, and Hilton, they have diversity programs. With the SBA loan, can you bring in a management company? I thought you had to have an active owner, either manage it either directly or have a management company that will allow you to be involved in the hotel more than they typically do. With the SBA loan, they probably gonna want you to bring a management company, a third party management company, or have somebody on your team that's highly skilled in hotel operations. So you definitely do have to be an active owner or have to have a really strong management company. Like they're really big on that because, and the reason why, let me just break it down. Like you said, give you the tea. So the lenders, they just want to get their money back, and it's easier to loan on a multifamily than it is on a hotel, because um, with multifamily, you have the rent roll, you got people staying there for years, it's pretty consistent. You're gonna get the same amount of rent every month. You know what you're getting. Hotels, you don't know what you're getting because it's cyclical and it's based on the economy, it's based on the market, it's a lot of different factors. So, 2 months you can be great and then the rest of the year you're horrible, right? So, and it's hard to predict that until it happens. There's no perfect way that you can. I'm sure anyone who was doing the analysis and underwriting, they did not predict COVID. They didn't. It did. Nobody did. Right. So that's just the biggest thing. So as a management company or as the lender, they're like, okay, if you bring in this inexperienced person, how do we know that they're going to manage the property so we can get our loan paid back? You see what I'm saying? Do you negotiate with procurement companies to buy hotel furnitures and fixtures? I don't, but Tommy does. So we have people on our team that handles that. Is there a preferred list of hotel consultants? Yes, it is. Just to thank you. Okay. All right. I'm just going through these questions. I'm joining late. Is the replay going to be sent out? Yes. Okay. What if all you have in strength is cash with joining and circle? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's folks who they great networkers. Look, they great networks, and it's some folks who can help guarantee the loan. They just may need a little bit more cash, right? And so that's where you can come in. Like maybe you only have a couple hundred and you want to be a general partner, and the person may need it, and that's your way of getting on your first hotel deal. So the biggest thing is like, okay, well, what can we do? How can we be creative, right? Is there a list of preferred hotel consultants? Yes, there is. I'm actually on that list. It's called the International Society of Hospitality Consultants. But yes, we do have a list. How do I passively invest in a hotel? So I have information on that. You can just go to vestor.com. It's my crowdfunding platform. There are deals on there where you can passively invest. What's the website to look up hotels that we can invest in? Oh, I can put it in there. Oh, she did it. Thanks. Great pregnant. Thank you. Okay. I'm just going through the questions. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Is there a replay? Yes, there'll be a replay. Okay. Oh, thank you, Takia. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When's the next summit? I think it's in October. I think so. Your info is scalable for all types of real estate investment. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think I just Okay, it says I was referring to any of the investment opportunities on investor, but specific in how can you, oh, I think all of those is like at least like a year or two. I don't think a lot of them are soon. The one that was probably the soonest, it just closed, like they just closed the investment round. Yeah. They just closed the investment rounds. So yeah, so I would look because a lot of them they give all the different details and the specifics, but I don't think there's any that's like gonna give out anything in 6 months. And I will say that's actually a great question because with hotels, it's not if you're looking for something quick, hotels is not it. Because it's a longer term. Anything in commercial real estate is if you looking for like I'm trying to get my money back in like a month, that's not gonna happen. And if somebody tells you that with a hotel, you're gonna get your money back in a year, they're lying, run away. I'll tell you that right now. That is not gonna happen with hotels. Oh, thank you. Oh no, Gaia is still on there. They're actually having a webinar tomorrow. They had a baby, so that's probably if you think they came and left back. They just had a baby. So Gaia, they back on, and we actually going to look at the property in a couple weeks. Yeah, it's still there. appreciate you all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I know we had some folks that left. I appreciate you all for tuning in, answering questions. It means so much to me. I hope that you all have an amazing evening. Oh my gosh, I ain't give a shout out to my Geminis. Were there any Geminis on here? It's still Gemini season. I can't believe I ain't give a shout out to my Geminis. We still got some Geminis on? Shout out Geminis, my Geminis that who left. I'm sorry. I ain't give y'all a shout out. It says I want to be. Oh, your birthday was May 28th. My birthday was May 28th. Hey, birthday twin. Hey, girl. Hey, June 11th. Okay. What's up, Gemini? We okay. I can't believe I didn't mention that, y'all. I'm just a mess. Okay. I always be shouting out the Geminis. I just didn't do it today. I guess I was just so excited because y'all was here. Okay, it says I want to be the next big hotel brand to build. I come from the hospitality industry and I own multiple SVRs. So where should I start? Oh goodness. Um, the biggest thing is if you want to develop your own independent hotel brand, you need to build it to sell. Like, yeah, I wouldn't build it to compete. I would build it so somebody can, so a bigger brand can build it. I mean, build a brand can buy it. Because it's hard for you to it's hard because a lot of brands, and so you'll have to be just so unique that nobody else is doing it. Like Graduate Hotels, they just got bought up by Hilton, and Graduate Hotels, they're hotels in college, university towns. Um, hey, June 13th, happy belated birthday! That was my nana birthday. So yeah, getting started with developing and independent hotels, they're just really expensive. And then you want to be the next hotel brand. Ooh, gosh, that's expensive. I don't even want to know how much I mean, it's just so expensive. So I would say the first thing I would do is I would not start off with an independent hotel to buy or develop. I would do a branded hotel first so you can get, build relationships, see how the process works. It's easier for you to get a loan. And then once you get that up and running and make some money, then use that money to do your independent. I wouldn't do the independent first because it's gonna take you a long time to do it and you probably won't make any money starting off. I'm just being honest. Hey, question: what would you say to invest in a hotel that's rebuild in the water zone in Florida? Hmm, you mean like a flood area? I don't know about all that. That sounds dangerous. That sounds like really high insurance bills. Okay, if I can still okay, if I do that, can I still hold ownership if I sell it? If you negotiate it, I mean everything is negotiable. Man, I can't believe I ain't shout out my Geminis. Well, my Geminis who's still here. I appreciate you all. Uh, thank you so much for tuning in. If there are not any more questions, I appreciate you all. For those that just joined in, I hope that you learned a lot. I hope that it was great. Replays will be coming out shortly. Uh, Jumping off the call, thank you so much. How difficult is it to build a hotel from the ground up? From a scale of out of 10, I would say 12. It is very hard and expensive. So I wouldn't start there. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. And we will, do we get it? I I think we got everybody. All right. Very informative. All right. Thank you all. You all have an amazing night. Hey, Montia, how you doing? All right. Will someone reach out after this? Yes. Yes. I really want to get in. Let's go. Let's go. I hope y'all signed up. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready. Y'all done got me excited. Let's go. I don't be playing no games. Let's go. What's up? All right. I think that's it. All right. You all, yep, I think I got all the questions. I think I did. All right. Oh, I didn't even show off my whole Empire Air shirt. Look, did y'all see that? Well, yeah, we'll get the payment plan information. I can't believe I ain't show my shirt off. What? I ain't show it off. All right. I'll see you all. Yep, and we'll send the payment plan info. All right. Thank you. I know my Empire Air ain't show sure, y'all. All right. Well, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you all have an amazing night. Thank you. This is fun. This is great. We got to do it again. And yes, we'll send the payment plan info. Yes, payment plan info is for the inner circle. Yes, that is correct. Good night. You all have a good night. Thank you all.